the middle of the night again. You wake up without warning, your eyes wide open in the dark. You lie there listening to the hum of the fridge, the ticking clock, maybe a car passing by outside. You try to will yourself back to sleep, but the more you think about it, the more awake you feel. You glance at the clock, 2:07 a.m., and that familiar dread sets in. You know how tomorrow will go, heavy eyes, foggy brain, no energy for the things you actually want to do. For many of us over 60, this has become the new normal. But here's the thing, it's not because you're doing something wrong. It's not your bedtime routine, your mattress, or even your age itself. The real reason is that your body simply isn't making enough melatonin anymore. This quiet little hormone is your body's built-in sleep signal. It tells your brain it's time to rest now. And as the years go by, your natural supply drops, sometimes by more than half, leaving your sleep cycle drifting off course. The good news, you can give your body that missing signal again without pills, without side effects, just by drinking certain natural melatonin-rich beverages before bed. This isn't about chasing trendy sleep hacks or cutting every last ounce of caffeine. These drinks are simple, affordable, and backed by research showing they help people fall asleep faster, sleep longer, and wake up feeling more refreshed. Some work by delivering melatonin directly. Others help your body produce more of it naturally. And they're all gentle enough for a body that doesn't bounce back the way it used to. Tonight, I'm going to share 5 melatonin-rich drinks that can help you finally sleep through the night again. They're easy to make, easy to enjoy, and one of them might already be sitting in your kitchen right now. So let's get started, because a good night's sleep shouldn't be a thing of the past. Part 1. Walnut milk. If you've ever sat at the breakfast table with a handful of walnuts, you probably thought of them as a healthy snack for the heart or the brain. But here's something most people don't realize. Walnuts are one of nature's richest sources of melatonin. And when we talk about melatonin-rich drinks, few options are as simple and effective as a warm glass of walnut milk before bed. This isn't some exotic superfood you have to hunt down at specialty stores. It's a grocery aisle staple that, when prepared the right way, can gently nudge your body back into the deep, uninterrupted sleep you've been missing. Let's get straight to why this works. Melatonin is the hormone your brain produces to control your sleep-wake cycle. It's what makes you start to feel drowsy when the evening comes. But as we age, especially after 60, our bodies produce significantly less of it. The result, you might fall asleep just fine, but staying asleep becomes a nightly struggle. Walnuts naturally contain melatonin in measurable amounts, along with tryptophan, an amino acid your body uses to make serotonin, which in turn converts into melatonin. Think of walnuts as a two-pronged approach. They give you melatonin directly, and they also provide the raw materials your body needs to make more. And here's where it gets even better. Research from Louisiana State University found that older adults who drank walnut milk every night for just 2 weeks saw their blood melatonin levels triple. Not only did they sleep longer, but they woke up fewer times during the night. Now you might be wondering, why milk instead of just eating walnuts? The answer is absorption and routine. Drinking walnut milk allows the melatonin and nutrient to be delivered in a warm, soothing form that signals your nervous system it's time to wind down. The act of sipping something warm before bed itself becomes a ritual, a cue to your brain that the day is over. In practical terms, here's how you do it. You can buy unsweetened walnut milk from many supermarkets, or make it yourself by blending 1 cup of raw walnuts with 3 cups of water, then straining it through a fine mesh or nut milk bag. Warm it gently, never boiling, because excessive heat can degrade some of the beneficial compounds. Skip the sugar, flavored syrups, or cocoa powder. Sugar spikes your blood glucose, which can cause you to wake up in the middle of the night when it drops again. If you want a hint of flavor, a tiny pinch of cinnamon works beautifully without interfering with sleep. Timing matters too. Drink about half a cup, 4 ounces, roughly 45 minutes before you plan to sleep. That gives your body time to absorb the melatonin and begin shifting into rest mode. Don't pair it with heavy, greasy snacks, and avoid washing it down with other caffeinated or sugary drinks. One of the most overlooked benefits of walnut milk is how gentle it is on digestion. Unlike cow's milk, which can cause bloating or discomfort for some people, walnut milk is lactose-free and easy to process. This means you're less likely to have nighttime digestive discomfort sabotaging your sleep. And then there's the psychological side. Having a predictable, calming pre-bed routine sends a clear signal to your mind. We're done for the day, it's safe to rest now. Imagine ending each evening with the lights dimmed, TV off, phone put away, and your hands wrapped around a warm mug of walnut milk. That simple scene does more than sound comforting, it's training your brain to release its grip on the day's stress. Some might say, I've tried warm drinks before and they didn't work. Here's the difference. With walnut milk, you're not relying on placebo. You're delivering a natural hormone your body actually needs, in a form it can use right away. Over the course of several nights, this consistent signal can retrain your sleep cycle, much like setting a broken clock back to the correct time. The first few nights, you might just notice falling asleep a little faster. By the end of the first week, it's not uncommon to find you're waking up less often. And after 2 weeks, many people experience deeper, more restorative sleep. The kind where you wake up and actually feel rested, not groggy. Sleep is not just about closing your eyes. It's about giving your body the conditions it needs to stay in that deep, healing state until morning. Walnut milk can be one of the easiest, most natural ways to restore those conditions. And the best part, it's sitting right there on the shelf, waiting for you to turn it into your new bedtime ritual. Tonight could be the first night you sleep all the way through again. Part 2: Tart Cherry Juice / Smoothie. If walnut milk is a gentle nudge toward better sleep, Tart Cherry Juice is a full-on signal flare to your body that it's time to shut down for the night. This isn't guesswork. Tart cherries are one of the richest natural sources of melatonin ever measured. And for older adults struggling to sleep through the night, that's a game changer. Imagine this: you wake at 3:00 a.m. staring at the ceiling, your mind alert even though your body aches for rest. You lie there knowing the alarm will sound in just a few hours. Now picture ending your day with a glass of deep red tart cherry juice or a creamy cherry smoothie. By the time you crawl under the covers, your body is already quietly adjusting, melatonin levels rising, sleep hormones doing exactly what they were designed to do, without a pill, without grogginess the next morning. Science backs it up. A study from the University of Rochester found that drinking tart cherry juice twice a day significantly increased sleep duration in adults with insomnia. Another from Northumbria University in the UK showed that participants slept an average of 84 minutes longer each night after just 1 week. Not a little bit better, but over an extra hour of real, restorative sleep. Why does it work so well? It comes down to the unusually high concentration of melatonin in tart cherries, around 13 nanograms per gram of fruit, plus compounds that reduce inflammation and oxidative stress. For older adults, that last part matters just as much as the melatonin itself, because aches, joint stiffness, and muscle soreness are often the hidden culprits behind nighttime awakenings. Here's how to make it part of your routine. You can buy pure, unsweetened tart cherry juice at most grocery stores or health food shops. Check the label carefully to avoid added sugars or blends with other juices. If you prefer something more substantial, turn it into a smoothie. Blend 1 cup of frozen tart cherries with a few spoonfuls of unsweetened Greek yogurt or a quarter of a ripe banana for creaminess. The yogurt adds a bit of protein to stabilize blood sugar overnight, and the banana offers extra potassium to help relax muscles. The timing is key. Drink your tart cherry juice or smoothie about an hour after dinner, ideally in a calm, dimly lit environment. This gives your body time to digest, absorb the melatonin, and start transitioning naturally into a sleep-ready state. And just like with walnut milk, keep the ritual consistent. Your body thrives on patterns, and by pairing this drink with a predictable evening routine, turning down lights, turning off screens, you're reinforcing the melatonin boost with behavioral cues that say day's over, time to rest. One thing people often ask is whether they should drink tart cherry juice in the morning as well, like in some studies. For most older adults focused purely on sleep, an evening dose is enough. But if you also deal with inflammation from arthritis or muscle soreness, a morning serving can help reduce discomfort during the day, which indirectly supports better sleep at night. It's worth noting that this is not the sweet maraschino cherry you find on top of a sundae. Tart cherries are sour by nature and their juice has a tangy bite. Many people find that refreshing, but if you're sensitive to sour flavors, the smoothie method with yogurt or banana makes it more mellow without adding sugar. What you don't want is to dilute the effect with added sweeteners. Too much sugar before bed can spike your blood glucose, only for it to crash in the middle of the night. Exactly the kind of cycle we're trying to avoid. The beauty of tart cherry juice is how quickly it can start making a difference. Some people notice better sleep within a few nights, others after a week. But because it works with your body's natural chemistry, the effect is gentle and sustainable. You won't wake up feeling drugged or dependent on it. You'll simply be sleeping more like you did years ago, naturally, deeply, without interruption. Think back to the last time you woke up feeling truly rested. Not just not tired, but clear-headed, ready for the day, energy steady until evening. That's the kind of change Tart cherry juice can help bring back into your life. And when combined with the right habits, it's not a temporary fix. It's the start of reclaiming the nights you've been missing. So if you've been wondering whether there's a natural, proven way to reset your nights, this glass of ruby red goodness might be your answer. Part 3. Kiwi Smoothie. If Tart cherry juice is like a powerful boost of melatonin, Kiwi works a little differently. It doesn't just add melatonin, it helps your body remember how to make and release it at the right time. For anyone who's been lying awake at night, staring into the dark, wondering why sleep doesn't come as easily as it used to, Kiwi can be the gentle reset your sleep cycle has been waiting for. Picture this: you're sitting in your favorite chair after dinner, the day finally slowing down, and in your hands is a cool green smoothie with a fresh, slightly tangy aroma. Every sip is refreshing, but what's happening inside your body is even more important. Kiwi delivers natural melatonin, yes, but it also supports serotonin production, which is the direct precursor to melatonin. And for older adults, serotonin levels often drop along with melatonin, creating a double barrier to quality sleep. By giving your body both, you're restoring a part of the natural process that age has gradually worn down. Research backs this up. A study from Taipei Medical University followed adults with long-term sleep problems. For 4 weeks, participants ate 2 kiwis about an hour before bed. By the end of the study, they fell asleep 35% faster, slept 13% longer, and woke up feeling more alert in the morning. No pills, no grogginess, just deeper, more restorative rest. The reason kiwi works so well goes beyond its melatonin content. It's packed with antioxidants that reduce oxidative stress in the brain, a factor that can fragment sleep and make it harder to stay in the deeper stages. It's also rich in vitamins C and E, potassium and folate, all of which contribute to healthy nerve function and relaxation. Making a kiwi smoothie is simple, but there are a few details that can make a big difference. Start with 2 ripe kiwis, peel them and blend with half a cup of unsweetened almond milk. If you want an extra sleep-friendly boost, add a small handful of sunflower seeds. They are rich in tryptophan, which, like serotonin, leads to melatonin. Keep it simple. Skip honey, sugar, or overly sweet fruits. Natural sweetness from the kiwi is enough, and extra sugar before bed can interfere with your sleep rhythm. Drink your kiwi smoothie about an hour after dinner, ideally in a quiet, dimly lit space. This isn't just about nutrition. It's about creating a signal to your brain that says, the day is winding down. Preparing the drink with a calm environment amplifies the effect, making it more than just a snack. It becomes a nightly ritual. Some people might wonder, why not just eat the kiwi instead of making a smoothie? You absolutely can, but blending it with almond milk or another plant-based milk can make it easier to digest, especially if you're sensitive to fiber at night. Plus, the liquid form tends to feel more soothing and is absorbed more gradually, helping the melatonin and nutrients work throughout the night. Another advantage of kiwi is how it supports both sleep onset and sleep maintenance. Many people over 60 have no trouble falling asleep but wake up multiple times a night. Kiwi addresses both issues, helping you drift off faster and reducing those middle-of-the-night awakenings. The results aren't usually instant, but they are reliable. Most people begin to notice a difference within a week or 2, with continued improvements over a month. And because kiwi is a whole food, it's safe for long-term use without the dependency risks that come with many sleep aids. Think about what it would mean to reclaim that deep, unbroken sleep, waking up without an alarm, feeling clear-headed with steady energy until the evening. That's not a fantasy, it's something your body is still capable of. Kiwi just helps remind it how. If you've tried other remedies and felt frustrated, kiwi offers a fresh approach, one rooted in restoring your body's natural rhythm, not forcing it. Combined with walnut milk and tart cherry juice, it can be part of a rotation of drinks you use throughout the week to keep your sleep cycle strong and steady. Tonight, you could start with something as simple as peeling 2 small green fruits and blending them into a glass of smooth, tangy goodness. Sometimes, the simplest steps are the ones that led you back to the kind of nights you thought you'd lost for good. Part 4. Goji Berry Tea. If kiwi helps your body remember how to produce melatonin, goji berries take a different approach. They deliver one of the highest natural doses of melatonin found in any fruit, along with a cocktail of antioxidants that protect and nourish your nervous system while you sleep. And for many older adults, that combination can mean the difference between tossing at 3 a.m. and waking up to a full, unbroken night of rest. You might know goji berries as a trendy superfood, often tossed into smoothies or sprinkled over yogurt. But long before they became popular in health stores, they were valued for their ability to improve sleep and overall vitality. Modern research has caught up to this traditional wisdom. Lab tests show goji berries contain about 15 nanograms of melatonin per gram, putting them among the richest known natural sources. That's more than enough to send a clear biochemical message to your brain: it's time to rest. But goji berries don't stop there. They're loaded with antioxidants, particularly carotenoids like zeaxanthin, which protect your eyes and brain from oxidative stress. This matters because oxidative stress in the brain is one of the silent disruptors of deep sleep. It can fragment your rest, making it harder to stay in those restorative stages. In one clinical study, middle-aged and older adults who drank goji berry juice daily for just 3 weeks reported better sleep quality, more energy in the morning, and fewer feelings of fatigue during the day. Their mood improved, too, likely a side effect of actually getting the rest their bodies needed. Making goji berry tea is as straightforward as it gets. Take about 15 grams of dried goji berries, roughly a small handful, rinse them briefly under cool water, and steep them in hot but not boiling water for about 5 minutes. The berries soften, releasing their natural sweetness and deep orange-red color into the cup. You can sip the tea as is or eat the softened berries afterward for an extra dose of fiber and nutrients. If you prefer a stronger flavor, let the berries steep a little longer, but avoid excessive heat, as it can degrade some of the delicate nutrients. Drink your goji berry tea about 30 to 60 minutes before bed, ideally after you've already dimmed the lights and started winding down for the night. Like walnut milk, the act of sipping something warm sends a calming signal to your nervous system. But unlike many herbal teas that work only through relaxation, goji berry tea is delivering actual melatonin, making it both soothing and biologically effective. Some people might worry about the slightly sweet taste of goji berries before bed. The good news is that their natural sugars are modest and paired with fiber, so they won't cause the kind of blood sugar spike and crash that can wake you in the middle of the night. In fact, for some, the mild sweetness can be satisfying enough to help avoid late-night snacking on less sleep-friendly foods. One of the beautiful things about goji berry tea is how easy it is to weave into your life. The berries store well in your pantry, ready to scoop into a mug whenever you need them. They're also portable. You can take a small bag with you if you're traveling and want to keep your sleep routine steady. For older adults who sometimes feel at the mercy of unpredictable sleep, that sense of control matters. And because goji berries are a whole food, there's no risk of dependency or withdrawal. They don't force your body to sleep, they help it return to the rhythm it's built to follow. Imagine ending your day with the warm, slightly tangy aroma of goji berry tea in your hands, knowing you're not just relaxing, you're giving your body a natural, nutrient-rich boost toward the kind of sleep that leaves you energized in the morning. Like the other drinks we've talked about, it's not a magic trick that works in a single night. But within a week or two of consistent use, many people find their nights becoming smoother, their mornings clearer, and their energy steadier. That's the kind of quiet transformation that doesn't just help you sleep, it helps you live. Tonight, your path to better rest could start with something as simple as a handful of bright red berries and a cup of hot water. Part 5. Grape Juice. Sometimes the simplest things are the ones we overlook. Grape juice is a perfect example. It's been sitting in grocery store aisles for decades, usually thought of as a breakfast drink or something you pour for the grandkids. But dark grapes, especially red and black varieties, are naturally rich in melatonin, and when you drink them in the right way, they can become one of the easiest tools for better sleep. The key is in the skin. That deep purple color comes from powerful plant compounds called anthocyanins, which not only protect your heart and brain, but also deliver melatonin directly into your system. In fact, studies have shown that dark grape varieties like Concord and Black Corinth contain measurable melatonin levels that can help regulate your circadian rhythm, the internal clock that controls when you feel sleepy and when you wake up. For older adults, that clock often starts running out of sync. Maybe you find yourself getting sleepy too early in the evening and then waking up at 3 a.m., or struggling to wind down at night no matter how tired you are. Drinking a small glass of pure dark grape juice before bed can help reset that timing, giving your body the nighttime signal it's been missing. But not all grape juice is created equal. The sweet, shelf-stable kinds loaded with added sugar won't help your sleep. They can actually make it worse by spiking your blood sugar before bed. What you want is 100% pure, unsweetened juice from dark grapes. Many grocery stores carry it in the refrigerated section, and if you have a juicer at home, you can make your own by pressing fresh grapes. The process is simple. Rinse a cup of grapes, remove any stems, and juice them whole, skin, seeds, and all. That's where the melatonin and antioxidants are concentrated. Drink about 4 to 6 ounces roughly 45 minutes before bedtime. It's enough to deliver the melatonin boost without overloading you with liquid that might send you to the bathroom in the middle of the night. For some, the flavor of pure grape juice can feel more intense than the sweetened versions they grew up with. But that bold, almost wine-like taste is exactly what you want. It means the natural compounds are there in full force. If you prefer a chilled drink, pour it over a couple of ice cubes and sip slowly while you wind down. One of the added benefits of grape juice is the resveratrol content, a compound found in grape skins that has been linked to brain health, heart health, and reduced inflammation. While this doesn't directly make you sleepy, it supports the overall health of your nervous system, which plays a big role in sleep quality. And unlike alcohol, which can fragment your sleep even if it helps you doze off, grape juice delivers all of these compounds without the side effects that ruin rest. Some people notice the difference in just a few nights, falling asleep more easily, waking up less often, and feeling more alert in the morning. For others, it's a gradual improvement that builds over a week or two as their sleep cycle gets back on track. Either way, the consistency is what makes it work. Pair it with other good sleep habits, dim lighting in the evening, no screens right before bed, and the effect is even stronger. Grape juice is also one of the easiest of the 5 drinks to keep on hand. A bottle in the fridge means you can stick to your routine without extra prep, and that's important because skipping even a night or two can slow your progress. Think of it as one more small, deliberate step toward reclaiming your nights. There's something comforting about ending your evening with a drink that's as familiar as it is effective. It's not complicated, it's not expensive, and it doesn't require any new gadgets, apps, or complicated schedules. Just a simple glass of something nature designed to tell your body it's time to sleep. Tonight, as you take that last sip, you can let go of the clock watching, the tossing, and the dread of another restless night. Because sometimes the simplest solution really is sitting right in front of you, quietly waiting to bring your sleep back. Over the past few minutes, we've explored 5 drinks that do more than warm your hands before bed. Each one is rooted in science, delivering natural melatonin or the nutrients your body needs to make it. Walnut milk offers a gentle, steady signal to calm your nervous system while directly boosting melatonin levels. Tart cherry juice gives a potent, research-backed dose that can extend your sleep by more than an hour. Kiwi doesn't just add melatonin, it helps your body remember how to release it at the right time while repairing oxidative stress that disrupts rest. Goji Berry Tea combines one of the highest natural melatonin contents in fruit with antioxidants that protect the brain and eyes. And dark grape juice, simple and familiar, helps restore your circadian rhythm while nourishing your heart and mind with resveratrol. These aren't magic potions. They don't knock you out like a pill, and that's a good thing. They work with your body, not against it, helping to realign your sleep cycle instead of forcing it. For most people, the change comes gradually. A night with fewer awakenings, a morning where you notice you feel clearer, a week where your energy stays steady until evening. And that's the beauty of these drinks. They're gentle enough to be used night after night, becoming part of a routine that signals to your brain, it's safe, you can rest now. You don't have to try all 5. In fact, starting with one is often the best approach. Choose the one that fits your taste, your lifestyle, and your pantry. Commit to it for at least 7 to 10 nights in a row. Notice how you feel, not just when you wake up, but during the day. Because real sleep is not about the hours you spend in bed, it's about the quality of the rest you get. Your body still knows how to sleep deeply. It's just been waiting for the right signal. And tonight, with something as simple as a glass in your hands, you can send that signal.